Corey's crew, Wu-Tang Financial, Southeast Jerome, Rap Forever Rudy's, College Avalanche, Lamp Lovers Anonymous, The Umbrellas, Shake and Bake, YSIS Warriors, Scott Uno Dos.
Alright boys, welcome to KSFL Tuesday Report. This is the postseason, post-regular season Tuesday Report. Let's move the scores from the last week of the regular season. The YSIS Warriors takes down Scott Uno Dos. This ends Scott Uno Dos's playoff spoiler, as he had done at least 2 games, if not 3 in a row. So Scott falls 74-62. This locks Peter in for the number 3 spot. Next up is the big game between College Avalanche and Southeast Jerome. As mentioned, College Avalanche was ineligible for the playoffs before this week. However, they got mad with that news and took down Southeast Jerome, bumping them from playoff contention. And actually, it's going to be a rematch this weekend. That game was 70-57. Corey's crew falls 113-89 to Shank and Bake. Tony Muscala walks away with the regular season title. Congratulations to him, and also this will be the top score of the week. Next up is Wu-Tang Financial finally regaining its winning ways by beating Lamp Lovers Anonymous 103-95. Personal mistake on my behalf on switching Forte and McFadden. I shouldn't have done that. I guess I trusted the Vikings defense. For some reason I did that. Matt Forte ended up putting up a bunch of points, and I would have won the game. Anyways, Wu-Tang locks up a bye with that big victory, and Lamp Lovers Anonymous locks up the 4 spot. Next up is Rap Forever Rudy's taking down the Umbrellas. The Umbrellas still are in the playoffs. However, this was a huge victory for the Rudies, coming off their league record low of 22 points. They knock Southeast Jerome out of the playoffs and get the number 6 seed. Let's move on to the top scorer. It's Mr. Tony Muscala, as I mentioned, 113, and he is the regular season champion. He's on a 7-game tear right now. He started the season 2-4, and ever since he has won. But I don't think that's going to continue too much longer, considering he potentially could face me in the second round of the playoffs. We'll see. Now let's go to the who's hot. Tony is definitely, the guy's on a 7-game tear. I had to put the Rap Forever Rudies in there just because they took down Southeast Jerome in that playoff hunt. It was something that I personally saw as absolutely impossible, but I guess Joe proved that after scoring 22 points, you can put up some points. So congratulations, Joe. Now let's move to the power ranks and the coaches poll and whatnot. As many of you guys don't know, the coaches poll is now out. It is not posted on the website, however, well, it might be once you see this, but this is the first some of you will see it. Tony Muscala gets the first spot, Charlie Marguerite the second, Peter Ritchie the third, and Matt Nelson the fourth. That is the same as the standings in the playoff seeding. Ryan Myers and Joe Jensen are the next 2, and same deal, they're 5th and 6th seed respectively. Charles Moore, Nick Manuel, and then Scott and John Moore round out the bottom. The only change is Nick Manuel in the standings has a better record than Charles Moore. Well, once you break it up. Actually, regardless, he does. And John placed 8th in the league, but last in the polls. Seemed to have a disagreement between Joe Jensen's rankings, as he was as low as like 8th place and as high as 3rd or something like that. Huge discrepancy. As for my power ranks, I think it's pretty much the same, except Peter, I believe, is the 5th best team. Look at Scotty Boy, he's all the way up there. The guy seriously just had the worst luck in the whole league. So too bad for Scooty. Next up, we're gonna unveil the playoff brackets. Mr. Myers gets the 5 seed, Mr. Nelson the 4 seed. Those two will face off, and then Mr. Muscala will take the bye for the upper half of the bracket. Moving to the bottom half, it's Mr. Jensen facing Mr. Ritchie. We'll have an interview with Mr. Jensen that was performed closely, like about a half hour after last night's game ended, to see what his remarks on gaining that 6th playoff spot was. And Mr. Marguerite gets the bye on that half. As a whole, looks like this. If seeds play out right, it'll be Mr. Marguerite and Mr. Muscala in the championship. Unfortunately, I will be unable to face Tony in the championship and show him who's boss. But I'll face him in the semifinals, hopefully. If not, I'm confident that Mr. Myers will be able to take down Tony. So, sorry, Tony, you won't be making the championship this year. Let's move on to the comparison of the two polls. This poll on the left was conducted a couple weeks ago, and the poll on the right is currently up on the website. There's only one more vote, and the one on the right. It looks like Tony again is getting 3 votes, and unlike the one on the left, Peter is getting 2 votes, and also unlike the one on the left, myself, I am getting 2 votes. Mr. Myers is also getting 1 vote. The surprising thing to me on this one is Charlie with 0 votes right now, and the not so surprising thing is Joe at 0 votes. I mean, kid's not going to do anything special. Let's go to the bottom half of the bracket, the toy of the bowl. 7 and 8 seed face off against each other, and the 9 and 10 seed will face off against each other. That is Charles Moore and Scott 12s. And those 4 teams will face for 7th place in the league. That's just a great confidence booster going into next year, getting that 7th place seed. But then again, getting 10th place, I would rather get 7th than 10th, obviously. I believe that's it for this part, and now we will move on to the interview with Mr. Joseph Jensen. Congrats on the big playoff bid. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I'll be interviewed for the KSFL Tuesday report.
Indeed you are.
Yes.
What do you have to say to your doubters there, Joseph?
Well, you know, I just like to call it destiny. People were ragging on my team. In fact, I believe I set the record for the lowest point total in KSFL history. But the team bounced back the very next week and clinched the playoff spot. I expected it, really.
God, you're cocky. What do you think about facing the number 3 seed this next week?
I thought I would play the number 1 seed. Did they get a bye?
No, you play Peter.
Oh, Peter Ritchie?
Do you not know the system? Donovan?
Peter Ritchie, I don't know the system. Peter Ritchie will have, the Weiss Warriors will go down just like Charlie Weiss is going to go down.
Yeah. So, what do you have to say to Mr. Nick Emanuel about replacing him?
Well, you know, I don't know if you guys remember KSFL history, but we used to be partners. He was my assistant, and
assistant to the coach or assistant coach?
Assistant to the head coach. He's like, an assistant coach. He was like my little bitch, and I put my little bitch in his little bitch place.
Damn. What do you think of the matchup between yourself and Mr. Marguerite? Do you think that you'll be able to advance the championship game?
Well, you know, I'd like to have my interview and have his facts straight before he asks me these questions. But the Rudies take it 1 week at a time. We'll dispose of Weiss's Warriors. You can call us next week, and we'll be happy to talk to you again.
Sounds good. Now, do you have a player conduct, or are you doing anything about this, like Mr. Harrison having a handgun over the summer, Mr. Culpepper gaining weight, and Mr. Burris shooting himself? What's up with this?
We don't believe in player conduct. We just roll with it. We're the Rudies, you know?
Yeah. Now, what do you think is going to be the key to the Rudies' success in the playoffs?
Well, to be honest, it's going to come down to general managing decisions. If you look closely at the Rudies, you realize that we didn't even reach our true potential this week. The mistake was made to play the Jets defense over the Eagles defense, which resulted in a 10-point decline. We also didn't play John Carlson, who put up 10 points, had me worried, but Sheffield came through with 9, so I'm not too worried about it. But we're going to have to find a good defensive matchup to get us some points, and beyond that, it's just going to be luck of the draw.
Sounds good.
But the Rudies will make the right decision.
All right, well, good luck to you, Joe. Thanks a lot. And everybody else, that is the KSFL Tuesday Report Week 14.